We should have just drawn a line in the sand and said, no, this is the type of client we'll work with. We cannot help you.
Do you get distracted by new ideas for your business in the inspiration of making money, being productive, being profitable, all those things? We're kind of adding on to the inspiration if you're a starter or a finisher. Sometimes people do lean towards one or the other, which can depend on what's getting done, what's not getting done.
You mean kind of like in the world, there are people who are introverts?
Extroverts.
And in the world, there are people who are extroverts. But in the middle, there are people who are ambiverts.
Yes.
And we've talked about that before. So it may come out in today's show that one of the presenters in the show, namely me, is in the middle between starter and finisher.
This entire series is an inspiration from an article where the link is in the description, and I will put the passage of how this particular episode came to pass with a quote by Alex Husted from Helpsy on getting distracted by new ideas and new opportunities.
This gal here is adorable, and I'm crazy about her. Her name is Linda Ray. She's not always crazy about me, except when I cook for her, which is what I'm doing to distract myself from important tasks. Right after this show, I'm going to make some homemade split pea soup with a ham hock.
So this is our third episode of Simple Sense for Small Business Season 2, but it is the first where we're on video. And of course, the hot water tank went out, so I did not wash my hair because it was freezing. It's going to be edited out.
I have bathed. I did not distract myself. I finished the task of starting and finishing bathing.
This is why I put the thumbnail as shiny object syndrome. There's nothing wrong with being inspired. There's nothing wrong with being excited and that excitement motivating. But the distractions, how are they impacting the productivity and thus the profitability? What do you have to say about getting distracted with new ideas? I have some input on actual practical experience for a couple of projects.
I know my problem tends to be I just create ginormous task lists. And so I get started on them. And also with our other business, our economic injury disaster loan business, the entire underwriting process that I do is Linda handles the marketing and onboarding of clients. And we have a document control manager who files the documents, but I underwrite the files and interact with the client in the SBA. And often the mental fatigue can become overwhelming. And so what happens between my giant task list and being overwhelmed, I just go, bleh.
Yeah.
So I don't know for me if it's a matter of shiny object as much as I will then look for a shiny object on purpose to either take a break or distract or procrastinate. I'm guilty. Totally guilty.
One of the things that you're guilty of as a result, because you have such good intentions, is you do set these artificial deadlines.
Drives her crazy.
Very evident.
She's being very nice right now.
For 12 months, maybe even 22 months. Your artificial deadlines in an attempt to have that as a motivation for yourself to get the finishing done.
It winds up getting in the way.
And then it
pisses
delays.
You off.
Well, yes, but it delays the finishing. So the starting of the intention and the list making.
I don't know if it delays the finishing.
It absolutely does.
I think it just is an unrealistic expectation. That's why I said I started out by throwing myself under the bus and saying I create these giant lists, and those lists include deadlines that cannot really be accomplished.
But let's delineate between a task and the overall project. The overall project is underwriting a file, but the task might be that you have to review the files, the documents rather, that's the task, and you may not get to it, and that's the delay.
By the date that I've set.
Because often you do the general setting of deadlines is, I'll have it done by the end of the week, by next week, I'll have it done by the end of the month.
Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I come out with a bold proclamation.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just telling my partner here that I'm going to do that, but also I write it down for myself.
Yeah.
I put it on my task list, by this date, and I wind up rejiggering those dates too often.
That impacts the business because you may not be finished with a task or a project, and maybe there is money due. You're not collecting it at the same time.
We're talking about you folks now, not
us. But here's the shiny object syndrome. Let me inject what happens with me since we talked about starting and finishing, and now the shiny object. So before EIDL consulting that we do, I was doing insurance marketing for a set number of clients. If I was in between projects or clients or whatever, I was like, oh, I need something to do. What's something fun I can do. And I set up this whole Instagram for insurance brokers and spent 5-6
but
weeks.
this was a brilliant idea you
It was,
had.
but it fell flat.
So what
It
Linda's
was
describing is a course.
flatlined, break even.
She actually did a lot of background to learn how to become an online course creator.
Yes.
You went to physical conferences in San Diego.
Yes.
We went to Digital Marketing Summit in Chicago together. You watched YouTube videos. You consulted with people. You paid.
I did some research on how insurance brokers are handling their Instagram.
And you were working with your good friend, who's kind of your accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
Every Friday, you two would talk. And she also, in her business, doing the same thing, creating an online course. So the two of you would do it.
Yeah.
And you put all this effort and work. So I don't know that this qualifies for shiny object, because you had an intention. You were going to create this product and sell it. There are people who write movie scripts and novels who never get them published, never get the movie made. There's some aspect to doing work. So I don't know that this work you're talking about qualifies as shiny object.
Okay, let me put this as far as it maybe not qualifying. I started it and I finished it, but guess what I didn't do? I didn't go to the next level of making another course to continue that.
Oh, that's
online...
not what I was going to say.
What?
I always felt that your big fail, hashtag big fail, and I've told you this, was prospecting.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up the phone. To me, it was two aspects. It was the product, which was amazing, by the way, folks. The product is amazing.
Well, not
but
anymore.
Also,
It's
the
a year
target
old. I didn't
audience,
update it.
in my opinion, as a professional salesperson, required you to call them, to sell them, to close them. I said to Linda at the time, you're talking about a class of professionals who are making money pretty easily because people are renewing their insurance and they're getting paid.
Insurance renewals.
So if you want to sell them a marketing product where they could potentially make more money, it requires a hands-on close. And to me, and I told you at the time, that was the hashtag massive fail for that course. I don't really know if this qualifies as shiny object.
Listen, I've done a bunch of things that were an attempt to be more profitable in an endeavor or in a profit center.
Still not shiny object. You're a working maniac. We want you to ask yourself, holy cow, am I like Linda and Trevor? Like Trevor creates crazy lists for himself with unreasonable deadlines. Are you like Linda, who's looking for different ways of earning revenue and spends considerable time to design a product, and maybe the product fails? That's not
the shiny
Do you
object syndrome?
prefer starting a project or finishing a task? Are you asking yourselves that question?
Are you starting and are you finishing? Because in the middle is somewhere there's a lot of stuff that might be happening but not getting done per se, right? So that's where the key evaluation is of taking inventory of what's going on.
Actually, now that you read Alex's quote, I can say we are guilty.
Exactly. That's why.
I
kind of read that before
but not
we
in the
came
way
on.
that you're describing.
I sent it to you to review.
I'm going to tell you. No, I know that, but I'm going to tell you where we're guilty. So prior to COVID, I had retired from the mortgage business. Linda had sold her insurance agency. She had started Aurora Consulting essentially as a marketing business. But when I retired in 2018, we added the financing component. And here's where the shiny object came. I wanted to do a very certain definitive set of type of business financing. And what happened is, as we were networking and as we created new prospects coming in our door, we found that some of these prospects didn't fit into the box that I had designed for what type of financing products we wanted to work on. But feeling that there was an opportunity to earn income from this prospect, I should have just said, no, we can't help you.
Yes.
Instead, we went searching for other types of financing products for these clients.
We literally, now that you're going back to the origin of our business financing brokerage, we literally probably had about 8 different product lines.
And we kept amending it.
We can get you restaurant financing, asset-based lending. We can do medical
Factoring,
billing receivables.
Yeah.
I mean, on and on, all these different niches.
The prospect came across the desk and we were like, oh, here's an opportunity to make money. It's like I used to say when I worked in electronics retail. Back in those days, you walk into our stores to buy a TV or a stereo system. You didn't walk in to buy a washing machine. And ultimately, by the way, the company started selling washing machines, and then the company failed shortly thereafter. So that kind of tells you. We should have just drawn a line in the sand and said, no, this is the type of client we'll work with. We cannot help you.
And on top of that, you were also playing live music because you're a professional musician. So we literally had like 5 things in the fire.
We had a lot going on.
Literally, how many times have I said literally?
What idea do you have, Linda, for wealth and hellness? If you want to continue to throw me under the bus with my
No.
my confession, if you will, about tasks and unrealistic deadlines.
The only thing that comes to mind, since this is a stream of consciousness exchange you always have every week, is before you try to start something else, you need to look at what you might not have finished.
Oh, okay.
Number one. Number two, you have to look at what extent and what effort have you gone with your existing product lines. Are you just really bored that you want to find something else? Or have you really exhausted all opportunities
bored
for
or
marketing?
desperate for money.
Good distinction. Have you gone to the extent of exhausting every marketing opportunity to broadcast your message on that particular product?
So,
which I did not do with the insurance.
Did not do with the insurance.
Be Gramtastic
And
product.
so let me ask you this, because you did continue the thread about my unrealistic task list and deadlines. What you suggested was if something's unfinished, to examine it. Okay, so I've got a list, and I've got 8 items on the list, and 3 of them are unfinished, and I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation?
I think you have to look at why aren't they being finished? Very truly and honestly reflect on why you're not finishing them. Is there a learning curve? Maybe you've plateaued on applying effort that matches execution.
In the case, I can literally refer to this as something I was doing just before the showtime. I was looking at files that we've worked on for clients. The clients have not responded. Every couple of days or every day I would look at my list, and I have a color matrix grid. So these are yellow, meaning that the client has the documents and we don't know what they've done with them. I looked at the list today. I said, you know what? I'm tired of looking at this list and seeing all this yellow. I need to move on.
Yeah.
And so I made a firm decision that's it. I've given them
enough opportunities
and
to
now it's
finish.
time to say we're done. So I gave a 10-day cancellation notice to myself for each one of these, and I asked our team to reach out to the client one more time and say, final shot. I need that off my list to clear my mind.
And we also have provisions and agreements and onboarding documents that have been signed that they are going to be responsive given the nature of what we're doing in our consulting, etc.
We hope that you have found our conversation today on camera in front of you, not just a podcast. We hope you have found this helpful and that you will subscribe, hit thumbs up, show your support to us. I'm Trevor.
I'm Linda Ray. See you next time.